everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we have 10 book recommendations that you need on your bookshelf. These are some of my all-time favorite books, and I feel as though each and every one of these books that hit a spot in my heart differently each time. So I have 10 books here. Technically it's about 16 or 17 because I did bring out the entire series, Shadow Me series at the end. But I just wanted to give you 10 book recommendations that I believe that you should have on your bookshelf. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first book we have here is Real by Kennedy Ryan. It's following an aspiring artist that's trying to break into Hollywood, Neva Saint. And then you also have Kanan Holt, who is like this famous film director. And pretty much Neva, she does like Broadway, she does smaller shows, and one day Kanan just so happened to stumble upon and walk into the show that she was actually performing as the lead in, and then the rest was history. This is more so like Forbidden Attraction. This is more so like I want you but I'm not supposed to want you type of deal here. Absolutely love this book. This was 5 out of 5 stars. I've read this so fast. It is one of Kennedy Ryan's most noble, notorious books in my opinion. So I do believe this is one of the Kennedy Ryan books that I believe that you should have on your shelf. If you never read a Kennedy Ryan book, I believe this is actually a good start. And actually, Kennedy Ryan just updated her covers for Real. I don't know if it's special edition or not, but they are so beautiful, and I'm very tempted to buy it just because the new cover is just beautiful. It's so cute, vibrant, happy, colorful. I love it. So yes, I'm going on a tangent, but this is one of the books that I believe you should have on your bookshelf. The next book we have here is Love's Truth by Kayla Shawn. This is following Capri and Truth. They are a newly divorced couple, and pretty much they are trying to do like this friends with benefits type ordeal, knowing that they still have very strong feelings for each other. So this book is just taking us along the journey of Truth and Capri post-divorce, and them realizing that maybe we really shouldn't have got divorced after all, because friends with benefits from a person that you was married to and very much still have feelings for doesn't mix well. So this was also a 5-star read for me. Kayla Shawn, I got introduced to her this year, and I absolutely love her writing. So I am going to read way more books of hers. This is actually the second book in this series, because the first one is called Love's Hope, or maybe this is the first one and Love's Hope is the second. I'm not sure, because they can be standalone actually, but it's like I would rather you all read it in order, because the characters will kind of like intersect in between the books, if that makes sense. So yes, I believe you should also have this one on your bookshelf. The third book I believe you should have on your bookshelf is Fast by Millie Belizaire. This was so good. This is following Caprice and Sean. Caprice is a troubled woman, pretty much. She has been through so much. Her mother died when she was very young. I believe she was about 8 years old. And then she ended up getting taken in by her grandmother. And her grandmother, who has an adult son named Marcel. And a lot of trauma happened to Caprice after she moved in with her grandmother. It's very traumatizing. It's very triggering. So I highly suggest you read the trigger warnings before you dive into this book. But if the trigger warnings is something that you can withstand, then I highly suggest you read this book. Sean is actually her neighbor across the street. They grow up together pretty much. They are in the same grade level. And Sean is almost like her saving grace. And it's young love. It takes you, the way Millie Belizaire wrote this book, she gives you she starts off when they were young. She kind of shows you what happened to Caprice, and then how Sean gets introduced to her life, and then it just takes her through her teen years and as she gets older. Millie did a wonderful job writing this story. It was so beautifully written. It was very hard to read. I definitely had to put it down a couple of times, but really good nonetheless. This was also, I believe, a 5-star for me as well. The fourth book you need to have on your bookshelf is it's called The Love Hypothesis. It is a fluffy, such a cute read. It's following, is it Olive or Olivia? It's following Olive and Adam. And pretty much Olive is a biologist, scientist, whatever you want to call it. And Adam is a professor. And pretty much Olive's friend has vetted her that you can have, I believe, love at first sight, if I'm not mistaken. Not really, not love at first sight, but she just doesn't believe in long-lasting relationships. Olive pretty much believes science has to prove everything, right? So she kind of goes on this dare. She kisses the first man she sees, which so happens to be Adam. Is it Adam, right? Yeah, which so happens to be Adam, whom is a professor, whom she doesn't realize until later, you know, you get into the story. But they end up having this fake boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, which lines do start to blur and they start to forget if it's real or if it's fake. I did rate this 5 stars. It's such a cute read and I highly recommend it. This is by Allie Hazelwood. That was 4. So the 5th book is also another Kennedy Ryan book. You all know that is my favorite actor. It's called Long Shot. Again, this is another heavy read. Just know the way Kennedy Ryan writes, she writes with a lot of emotion. She writes with a lot of love. She writes a lot of hard things, right? But they are so real because it happens in real life, and I appreciate her for that, because not everybody's life is a walk in the park. Not everybody's life is just sunshines and rainbows. Some people go through a lot to get to where they are or get to where they are going. So I appreciate Kennedy Ryan for her books and for her empathy and for her sympathy, and actually for her educating a lot of us who doesn't experience a lot of things that she writes in her books, but she makes us so aware and allows us to just be so gentle and just think twice when you talk to somebody, because you really just don't know nobody's story. But this one is about Iris and August, and this is a sports romance, y'all. I actually grown to love sports romance. And pretty much Iris is in a very, very abusive relationship. And this is actually on the back of the book. Is it right? Let me make sure I'm not spoiling it. Okay, yes. So Iris has a love for basketball. Like, she loves it. This is what she does. And she is dating a guy who is also in the NBA, and August, who is also one of the main characters in this book, is in the NBA as well. And Iris meets August one night at a bar while she's watching the game, and they just chop it up. He finds Iris very intriguing, and she is just very, like, she's down with it. Like, she's not faking the funk. Like, she loves sports. She does not mind being combative. Because she knows what she's talking about, and that intrigues August. So they have this undeniable connection, this undeniable attraction to each other, and they're able to talk sports to each other. And by the end of that conversation, August does learn, because Iris told her, that she actually is dating somebody else. So they go their separate ways and end up coming back, and when he comes back, it's a nightmare. Iris is living in a nightmare, and August is almost trying to be like her prince. He's trying to save her from this nightmare. So it is very triggering. I did rate this a 5 star. It's really, really good. If you can withstand, again, the triggers, then please read this book, because this is also one of Kennedy Ryan's best series books, in my opinion. The next book I believe you need to have on your bookshelf is Never Lie by Frida McFadden. Shout out to all of you all who put me on to Frida, our girl Frida. She is really that girl, and I keep saying that, but oh my gosh, she is literally the epitome of making me fall in love with thrillers. Cannot wait to get into more of her books. But this one is about newlyweds, Teresa and I think Ethan. Yes, and Ethan. They are looking for a house. And the house that they are looking at currently, it is so remote, it is so isolated, and it belonged to a woman named Dr. Adrienne Hill. And she was a psychiatrist, and she went missing, and her body just never came up. And this is her house, and they are looking for it. And when they go visit this house, it so happened to be a snowstorm, and they get stuck there, and they get stuck there pretty much. And they start to, well, Teresa starts to get really nosy, and she finds these cassette tapes that Dr. Adrian Hale used to have when she recorded her patients. And Dr. Adrian Hale was also a #1 bookseller because she wrote mystery thriller type books, especially on her clients that she used to interview. And Teresa goes to listen to these cassette tapes to try to figure out what happened to her. Along all that's going on, the house gets creepy, and they start to get uncomfortable. Well, Teresa more so, or Trisha. And it's just a really, really, really good thriller. I rated it 5 stars. What you think you know, you have no idea. And that's all I'm gonna say. So I definitely think if you have not read Never Lie by Frida McFadden, I highly suggest you do so. The next book we have here is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. This is still, out of all of the books I've ever read, this is still the #1 book I love. And I cannot wait to read This Could Be Us. I have that book on my bookshelf right now. I'm looking at it, and I plan to read that soon. But this one is following Yasmin and Josiah. And this is like a second chance romance trope. But they are divorced, and they have 2 kids. And it's just so unfortunate the reason why they got divorced, and I'm not going to disclose that because I don't want to spoil it. Because it literally, you don't find out the reason why they truly divorced till like closer to the very end of the book. But not only are they like co-parenting, they are also business partners. They actively are running a business together. And Yasmin and Josiah, Yasmin, as soon as she starts to find joy again, she starts to realize like, dang, I still love this man. And Josiah, he realizes he obviously never stopped loving Yasmin. And once you realize why they got divorced, it's definitely heart-wrenching. So read the trigger warnings for this as well, because I definitely don't want to trigger anyone by recommending this book to you, and it's so triggering just due to the circumstance that happened between them. But I cannot talk about this book enough. I absolutely love this book down. I want to reread it again so bad, but I'm holding out because there are so many other books that I have not yet gotten to. But again, this is a second chance romance. It's divorce, you know, seeing if they're going to get back together or not. It's the one bed trope thing that I know the girlies love. Yeah, it's just really, really good, and I cannot stop talking about this enough. The next book we have here is ACOTAR. I mean, and I took this one out because this is the first book in the series, but this was actually 4 stars for me. But you have A Court of Mist and Fury, you have A Court of Wings and Ruin, you have A Court of Frost and Starlight, you have A Court of Silver Flames. I might also be missing one. But this is following 19-year-old Feyre. She is a huntress, and while she's in the woods looking for food to feed her family, she kills a wolf that she wasn't supposed to kill. And the wolf family, whoever, Tamlin, they come to Feyre's house to demand retribution. Like, you killed this wolf, you wasn't supposed to kill this wolf, and now you either gonna die or you gonna come back to our land and you gonna live there forever. Like, it's one or the other. So she ends up going with them because her family's like, girl, don't you die for this. And they always had like such these terrible stories that they heard about the fays and the fairies. And Feyre quickly learns that everything that she learns as a human or in the human world is totally different from what's reality. So I cannot talk about ACOTAR enough. Actually, A Court of Mist and Fury and A Court of Wings and Ruin, I rated both of those 6 stars. 6 stars, right? So this series is probably going to be my favorite books that I've read in the year 2024. We are only in March, and I gave that title away very quickly, but I feel like ACOTAR is going to hold its ground. That and Fourth Wing, which you're about to get into, but the ACOTAR series, all of them. Go ahead and buy all of them in advance. Don't just buy the first one and say, oh, I think I'm gonna see how I like it before I get the others. No, just go ahead and get all of them, because this is one of the series where it gets better and better as you keep going, okay? So I am asking you to spend all your coins on the ACOTAR series. Be very irresponsible, because I will not steer you wrong. The next one we have here is Fourth Wing, and I left Iron Flame over there, because just know that both of the books are 5-6 stars for me. And this is following Violet and Xaden. Violet trains her entire life to be a, what do they call them? A scribe. And pretty much they have all these different quadrants. And pretty much Violet's mother, who is like the general over the writers, she forced Violet to be a writer, although Violet always tried to just be a scribe. So pretty much Violet's whole story in this book is to survive the writer's quadrant, and all the odds are stacked against her. Like, she's tiny, she never trained for this, she is uncoordinated, she is so little. And pretty much with the writer's quadrant, it's not like if you fail, you go back home. No, if you fail, you die. Like, the only way to survive writer's quadrant is to live and pass, or to not pass and die. So she works really, really hard to make sure she does not die, and she becomes a dragon rider. Which brings me into Xaden, who is like the most powerful wing leader in the writer's quadrant. And pretty much it's like a whole enemies to lovers thing. Like, Xaden don't like her, she don't like him, and she's like, you know what, you're not gonna kill me. And then she gets to a point like, if you're gonna kill me, please just kill me and stop tormenting me. And he's all like, who's trying to kill you? Playing mind games with the girl. But it is so good. I actually rated Iron Flame 6 stars. I realized that although I really love romance, I love romantic seed just as much. So this is really, really good. I cannot recommend this series enough. And I am so ready for Rebecca Yarros to go ahead and write the 3rd book in the Fourth Wing series, because I don't know how much longer I can wait. And then lastly, you all, hold on, because my books are falling, so let me, we have the entire Shadow Me series. And as you can see, I have never opened this because I read all of them on my Kindle, and I refuse to open this. I probably will end up busting the what is this called? The film, the whatchamacallit open. You know what, let me go ahead and do that. Just go ahead and just take the plastic off. Break the plastic off. I've been acting brave. But the entire Shadow Me series, y'all, I absolutely love it. The only thing with this series right now is I don't have the novellas. I do plan on buying them. I did read the novellas as well that goes in between each book. But this is such an amazing series. It's following Juliet, who has like this deadly touch, and pretty much the reestablishment, which is also probably like the government. They put Juliet in jail for 264 days because she accidentally touched someone and that child died, unfortunately. And pretty much Juliet spends 264 days in complete isolation, in complete darkness. And then she starts to realize, once she gets like this saving grace, his name is Aaron, and they pretty much break out of that. And pretty much the entire series is Juliet trying to learn her power, learn herself, and just try to get the confidence, right? So this series is so good. It's a YA. Actually, I think all of the fantasy books, romantic books that I have in this stack is YA. But this is so good. I think I've rated each and every one of these books 5 stars. As you can see, I am not that free with my 5 stars, but then again I am, but I'm not. I just love what I love. But yeah. You all, that is all of the books that I believe that you should have on your bookshelf. And if you don't have it, just go ahead and get it now. A lot of these are on Kindle Unlimited. Well, some of them are. And some of them you can find at all of them actually you can find at your local bookstore. You can find all of them at Amazon. But again, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Bye, friends.